The mind you try to force rebels. The mind you program obeys. Napoleon Hill. In 1937, Napoleon Hill documented 267 men who built fortunes during the worst economic crisis the United States had ever lived through. 13 million people unemployed, banks closing their doors every single day, an entire nation locked in collective panic. And while that was happening, these 267 men multiplied their wealth fourfold in less than 2 years. You're probably thinking the difference was willpower, superhuman discipline, a rare ability to grit their teeth and keep going when everything inside them was screaming to stop. You're wrong. And that's exactly why you haven't gotten where you want to go yet. Hill recorded in Chapter 6 of Think and Grow Rich that all of these men stopped trying to control their own minds 3 months before the financial turnaround happened. They didn't fight against fear. They didn't repeat affirmations until exhaustion. They didn't force themselves to think positive while everything around them was collapsing. They did exactly the opposite. They gave their own mind a clear instruction and got out of the way. Write this down because it's the sentence that's going to split your life into before and after. You don't need more force. You need to stop using the wrong force in the wrong place. If you're here today because you feel like giving up, I need you to understand one thing before we go any further. The exhaustion you feel isn't weakness. It's the sign that you're pushing a giant problem with a tool that's far too small. And today, you're going to learn which tool is the right one. The same one Ford used, the same one Edison used, the same one Hill himself used when he lost everything he had written in a fire. Stay with me until the end, because what comes next isn't cheap motivation. This is mental warfare, and you're about to learn how to win it the right way. You believe that controlling the mind is a daily fight, that waking up early requires renewed discipline every single day, that keeping focus demands conscious effort minute by minute, that beating procrastination is a battle you have to fight over and over, always, without truce. And I understand why you believe that, because that's exactly what you see working all around you. The athlete who trains in the pouring rain, the entrepreneur who works 16 hours straight without complaining, the student who pulls an all-nighter with burning eyes, memorizing whatever needs to be memorized. They all seem to be winning through sheer repeated effort. They seem to be proving that whoever endures more wins more. Let me tell you something. Even Napoleon Hill believed that. During the first 12 years of his research, interviewing Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Charles Schwab, he looked at these men and saw discipline in every gesture, saw rigid routine, saw control. And he concluded, as anyone would, that conscious discipline was the key to everything, except in 1925, reviewing the notes from more than 500 interviews, Hill found a contradiction that split that logic right in half. The wealthiest men he had interviewed worked fewer hours per week than the average American, and they reported less mental effort during the most important decisions of their lives. Not more, less. Stop pretending this doesn't bother you. Because if you're waking up exhausted, forcing concentration that won't come, fighting with your own head every single morning, you're doing exactly what most failed people do. And you're calling it effort. Here's the truth nobody told you. Repeated conscious effort isn't a sign of strength. It's a sign that you still haven't learned how to delegate. Think about Abraham Lincoln, a man who lost elections, lost businesses, lost people he loved, and still reached the presidency of the United States in the middle of a civil war. Lincoln didn't win every internal battle by waging war against his own mind every day. He made the decision, recorded the goal with absolute clarity, and let the rest do the work while he acted. Charles Schwab, whom Hill interviewed personally, said a line that sums all of this up. Most of the important work of his life happened when he stopped thinking about the problem directly. Stop. Read that line again. You've spent years believing you need to sweat mental blood the entire time to deserve the result. That if you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough. That belief is sabotaging you right now as you watch this video. Say this out loud: I don't need to fight my mind to win. Feel the weight of that sentence, because you're going to need it in a few minutes when I show you exactly why forcing never worked and what works in its place. If this is already making sense to you, if you feel like someone is finally telling you the truth, your exhaustion has always been trying to tell you, stay until the end, because the part that changes everything hasn't even started yet. If you've made it this far, you're no longer just watching, you're part of this. So drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your city down below. We read every single one, and we respond. The contradiction Hill found in 1925 wasn't an isolated detail, it was a pattern, and the numbers behind it are going to bother you, because they destroy everything you've ever learned about productivity. Between 1925 and 1928, Hill asked 119 executives and business owners to record over 90 days how many hours they worked, how many decisions they made, and how much conscious mental effort they felt in each one. The 22 men who reported the highest conscious effort, the ones who forced themselves awake at 4 in the morning, who fought distraction all day long, who lived in a state of internal war, closed the quarter with an average revenue drop of 17%. Write this down, because it's the opposite of what you've been taught your entire life. The 19 men who reported the lowest mental effort, working an average of 6 hours and 20 minutes a day, grew 34% in that same period. It wasn't luck. It wasn't superior talent. Hill recorded in the chapter on applied faith that these men didn't relax out of laziness. They transferred the heavy mental work to the subconscious through a clear instruction before sleep, and woke up with the solution ready, waiting for them. Here's the truth. Modern science confirmed decades later, your conscious mind processes about 40 bits of information per second. Your subconscious processes 11 million. You're trying to solve the biggest problems of your life with the slowest, most limited part of your own brain, and wondering why you're exhausted. The more force you apply with the conscious mind, the more you jam the system that actually decides. It's like trying to drive a truck using only the windshield wiper. The tool is switched on. It's just not the right tool for the job. Say this out loud right now: I was using the wrong tool. Henry Ford understood this in March of 1932. For 8 months, every engineer he had told him it was impossible to cast 8 cylinders into a single engine block. Ford didn't increase the pressure, didn't demand more hours. He wrote one sentence: I want the V8 cast as a single piece by December. He put the paper in a drawer and stopped personally reviewing the project. For 6 months, Ford didn't lie awake thinking about metallurgy. He let the problem go, and in October of that year, an engineer named Carl Schultz delivered the working prototype, later reporting that the solution came during a simple Sunday walk when he wasn't even thinking about the engine. You're carrying a problem in your head right now that's keeping you from sleeping properly. A problem you go over mentally every single day, trying to force the answer to appear. Here's what you need to do differently. Write the instruction with total clarity. Set the deadline and stop reviewing the problem by hand. If you felt the weight of that sentence just now, maybe it's time to turn this into part of your daily ritual, because understanding it once changes nothing. Repeating it until it becomes identity changes everything. Whoever understands this mechanism stops competing with their own mind. They start working with it, and that's exactly what you're about to learn how to do starting now. Now, I want to show you the exact mechanism, not the theory. The step-by-step process Napoleon Hill discovered in 1928, which modern neuroscience confirmed decades later using functional MRI. Hill called this delegated autosuggestion, and it works in 3 steps. First, you hand a specific instruction to the subconscious before sleep, spoken out loud, always in the same wording, always with a defined deadline. It's not, "I want to be successful." That's not an instruction. That's a vague wish. It's, "I close this deal by Friday." Number, deadline, surgical clarity. Write this down, because this is exactly where most people get it wrong. They ask for vague things and then complain that life doesn't respond. Second, you let go of conscious control. You allow the subconscious to process while you sleep during REM sleep. The moment when prefrontal cortex activity drops 40% and the limbic system takes over the work. It's literally science confirming what Hill taught almost 100 years ago. You need to get out of the way for the solution to appear. Third, you act on the very first idea that comes to you when you wake up, without questioning it, without filtering it through conscious logic. Because that idea was already processed by 11 million bits per second while you slept. And do you really want to destroy that with 40 bits of conscious doubt? Hill called this definite orders to the invisible servant in Chapter 4 of Think and Grow Rich. And the difference between forcing and delegating is this simple. Forcing is you trying to push 40 bits per second against a problem with 11 million variables. Delegating is handing that problem to the system that was built to solve it. Say this out loud right now. I delegate, I don't control. Say it again. I delegate, I don't control. And feel what that sentence takes off your shoulders, because it's weight you were carrying without ever needing to. In 1923, Napoleon Hill lost the complete manuscript of The Law of Success in a fire. Years of work, destroyed in a single night. He had 2 choices: force his memory, sit down and try to rebuild every word through sheer brute force, or trust the mechanism he himself had discovered. Hill chose to reread only the book's index. He slept 8 hours a night. He walked for an hour every morning without thinking about the book, without reviewing chapters in his head, without torturing himself trying to remember exact sentences. In 90 days, he rewrote 748 pages, and his editor noted that the second version was 40% clearer than the original that had burned. Read that again. The fire didn't destroy Hill's work. He rebuilt a better book, clearer, stronger, because he stopped forcing and started trusting the right system. Thomas Edison did the same thing with the incandescent light bulb. 14 months testing materials in an almost mechanical way while his conscious mind stayed free, focused on other projects. The solution of the carbonized carbon filament came in October of 1879. Edison was having dinner, not thinking about the problem at all. When he sketched the final design on a napkin, no effort, no struggle, no sleepless night forcing the answer to appear. Are you carrying some kind of fire right now? Some destroyed project, some fresh start that feels like it demands superhuman force? Stop trying to rebuild it through brute force. Write the instruction, let go, trust the system. You just learned the mechanism. But a mechanism without practice becomes a theory forgotten within a week. That's why we've pinned the 21-day mental reprogramming planner in the first comment, the step-by-step guide for you to install this instruction every day until it becomes identity. Now I need you to understand something that's going to completely change how you see mental control from today forward. Mental control isn't you watching every single thought, fighting to make your mind obey second by second. That was never control. That's exhaustion disguised as discipline. Real control is you programming the subconscious once with precision and letting it run on its own while you simply live. Here's the truth. Conscious willpower exists to install the instruction, not to keep it running 24 hours a day. If you're using willpower every single day at the same intensity for the same task, that's not proof of discipline. It's proof that the instruction still hasn't been accepted by your subconscious. Think about it. When you wake up at 5 in the morning without an alarm after training that habit for 21 days straight, what's happening there isn't willpower at work. It's the subconscious carrying out a command you recorded, one your conscious mind doesn't even remember giving anymore. Napoleon Hill called this applied faith in Chapter 3 of Think and Grow Rich. You plant the mental seed with total clarity. You water it with deliberate repetition in the first few days. And then, this is the part nobody ever taught you, you get out of the way and let the subconscious make it grow. Write this down, because it's the sentence that separates those who live in constant struggle from those who live in silent execution. Your conscious mind is the programmer, not the operator. You write the code once, goal defined, deadline set, mental image vivid, felt as if it were already real. And the subconscious runs that program without you needing to keep remembering, nagging, or forcing. Daily, repeated effort isn't a sign that you're in control. It's a sign that somewhere the instruction wasn't clear enough, or you never let go of conscious control to let it operate. Say this out loud. I program once. I don't operate all the time. Again, I program once. I don't operate all the time. This changes your Monday coming up. You're going to stop waking up trying to convince your mind to want to work, because convincing is repeated conscious effort, and you've already seen today, with real numbers and real cases, that this drains results instead of producing them. Instead, on Sunday night, you're going to write down in one exact sentence what needs to happen that week. Not a generic to-do list, an instruction with a number and a deadline. Close 2 contracts by Friday. Finish the project before Thursday at 6 p.m. Record 5 videos in 3 days. You read that sentence out loud 3 times before sleeping. You visualize the exact moment of completion for 30 seconds. Feel it as if it has already happened. And you let go. Monday morning, you won't force focus. You'll watch your own mind pull you on its own toward the actions that deliver that instruction, without you having to negotiate with it, without having to convince yourself all over again every hour. Charles Schwab lived this. Lincoln lived this, even in the middle of the hardest war the United States ever faced. They weren't men who never felt like giving up. They were men who had already handed over the instruction and trusted the system enough not to have to fight it every single day. The practical takeaway from this is simple and final. You will never again confuse discipline with internal struggle, because now you know the difference. Whoever is still fighting hasn't programmed yet. Whoever has programmed simply executes what the subconscious has already decided to deliver. Join this way of living. Let this be your daily reprogramming, because understanding it once in theory changes nothing in practice. It's repetition that turns understanding into identity. I need you to stop right now. Not stop watching, but stop thinking the way you were thinking 30 minutes ago. Because everything you've seen here today points to a single truth, and it's simple. You never needed more force. You needed to stop applying force in the wrong place. The 267 men who built fortunes during the worst crisis in American history didn't win because they fought harder. They won because they stopped fighting 3 months before the turnaround and handed the instruction to the part of the mind that actually decides. Ford didn't stay up night after night fighting with metallurgy. He wrote one sentence, put it in a drawer, and let go. Hill didn't try to rebuild an entire book through brute force after the fire. He slept, walked, trusted, and delivered a better version than the one he had lost. Edison didn't force the answer about the filament. He let his mind work while he had dinner, and the solution appeared on its own, with no struggle, no desperation. Write this down, because it's the sentence you're going to carry for the rest of your life. Forcing is you pushing 40 bits per second against a problem with 11 million variables. Delegating is handing that problem to the system that was built from the very beginning to solve it. If you feel like giving up right now, even before finishing this video, I want you to understand something with all the clarity I have in me. That feeling isn't weakness. It's the sign that at this exact moment, you're trying to carry alone a weight that was never yours to carry with your conscious mind. You don't need to watch every thought. You don't need to fight distraction minute by minute. You don't need to wake up every day convincing yourself to keep going. That was never discipline. That was exhaustion wearing the wrong clothes. Say this out loud right now with me. I don't fight my mind, I program my mind. Again, feel every word of that sentence. I don't fight my mind, I program my mind. One more time. Because repetition is the language of belief, and you'll only truly believe this once you repeat it until it becomes identity. I don't fight my mind, I program my mind. Tonight, before you sleep, write one sentence, just one, with a number and a deadline. Not a vague wish, a surgical instruction. Read it out loud 3 times. Visualize the exact moment it becomes reality, and then let go, because from the second you program it, fighting your own mind becomes sabotage, not effort. You are the programmer. You were never the operator. And starting today, this stops being theory and becomes the way you live every Monday, every hard decision, every moment that used to lock you up in panic. This message wasn't made to be heard once and forgotten the next day. It was made to be lived, repeated, installed, until programming the mind is as automatic as forcing it used to be. So, if this spoke to you, if any sentence here hit exactly where it needed to hit, subscribe, leave your like, and come back here tomorrow. Because this isn't a one-video reprogramming, it's a daily process, and this community exists to walk through it with you. You don't need more motivation, you need a clear instruction, and the courage to let go of control after giving it. Today, you learned the mechanism. Tomorrow, you decide whether you're going to force it or finally program it. The choice, as it always was, is yours. But now you know which one actually works.